This is James P. White from 95.7 Cruise FM, The Locker Room. Welcome to the Jedi Jimmy podcast. This is episode number 60, Ahsoka, episode 4, The Shadow Warrior. This episode starts on Cetos. Hera has landed the Ghost on Cetos and is checking the henge for her missing friends. So Ahsoka and Sabine. She ended up finding Huang. He was hiding behind a part of one of the henges, and he had Sabine's helmet. And he said, "They never listened to me. I told them to stay together." Now we are back in the the time place, so where we have Ahsoka and Anakin. Anakin told her that she lost the fight to Balin. Anakin said he was there to finish her training. That is actually quite significant. He kept calling her Snips. If you don't know what Snips is, that was a nickname that he had for her when she was his apprentice, right from day one at the beginning of the Clone Wars. He called her Snips because she was kind of snippy. She asked him what was the lesson. He said, to live or die. When she said, "I won't fight you," his response was quite interesting. He said, "I've heard that before," as he attacked her. And if you remember the significance of that in episode 3, the Revenge of the Sith, when he fought Obi-Wan on Mustafar, Obi-Wan said, "I'm not going to fight you." At first, I thought he was helping her with her lightsaber training. Now we jump back to at the henge with Jason, Huang, the fighters, as well as Hera. And Jason is very strong in the Force. He can hear something in the waves of the water. And at first, Hera can't hear it until he says, listen very carefully. And it's lightsabers crashing. So he can actually hear Anakin and Ahsoka fighting in the time nexus, which I think is kind of cool. And then Huang revealed that Jason is the son of Kanan Jarrus and Hera, which we already knew, but now it's out in the universe. Everybody knows. As Anakin and Ahsoka are fighting, she goes, "See, I've learned a lot." And he ends up cutting the platform thing that they're standing on, and she falls through. And that's actually kind of cool because when she landed, she was back during the Clone Wars when she was first his apprentice. And at this point, they're at the Battle of Ryloth. And it's actually really cool. So it's a flashback of Ryloth. And Ryloth, I don't know if you know this or not, but that's actually Hera's home planet. So that's where Ahsoka and Hera first met years ago. The cool, interesting thing about it is Anakin is wearing the breastplate and of the protective armor that they used during the Clone Wars. So Jedi did have some armor. It was around their chest and shoulders. And another interesting thing is Ahsoka was literally a child in these scenes, which is quite cool. Ahsoka says, "I don't understand." And Anakin's response is, "That's your problem." I think the most significant line Ahsoka said is that all I'm going to teach a Padawan someday? Is how to fight. I think that's where she realized that her weakness as a master when it came to dealing with Sabine. When she grew up as a Jedi, she was taught to be a soldier right from day one. Like right at the very beginning of becoming a Jedi, she was taught to be a warrior, to fight. When Anakin and Obi-Wan trained as a Jedi, they were keepers of the peace, not warriors. But she was being taught to be a warrior. She says, "What if I want to stop fighting?" His response is, "You will die if you stop fighting." Something cool happened then. In the sequences he's walking away from her, going back into battle, there was a quick, he kind of shadowed into Darth Vader and back out again to Anakin. I thought that's pretty significant. Now we're back to Hera, and Hera and the squadron are searching the water for Ahsoka or anyone else from the group. They don't know who's there. Hera was questioning her abilities of being a general, and Huang's a very, very interesting character. He says to her, "You do things the way you do, your way, because you care. That's why people like you." That is cool. It now jumps to Mandalore. During the siege of Mandalore, because she was fighting the Mandalorians, so we could tell that that's where she is. Because during the siege of Mandalore, that was during the time that Darth Maul had control over the Death Watch, which was basically overrun the Mandalorians. And in the battle, there was a quick scene with Captain Rex. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm hoping to see him later on. And she said her part of the legacy is death and war. And Anakin said, "You're more than that, because I'm more than that." And then she pointed out that, yeah, he ended up, becoming a Lord of the Sith. Then their fight continues. He then gives her an ultimatum to live or die. She returns to the, world between worlds, so the Nexus. And he says, "You're without conviction." She says, "I choose to live." Her struggle is not with the past, but with Anakin being her master. She doesn't think she's strong enough to break the legacy. The ultimate lesson was not to stuff her emotions in and hide everything. It was her emotions that made her a Jedi and made her who she was. A little bit more than just a Jedi. She wakes up under the water on Cetos, and she is retrieved back to the Ghost. Now, when she wakes up, they find that the map had been destroyed, and Ahsoka says that's the last thing that Sabine had, so I could pull a memory of it. And she gets the impression of that Sabine had that they became their prisoner to save Ezra. And to kind of actually, she also did it because remember at the last episode, Ahsoka said, if we can't find Ezra, then no one should. So her joining them made it easier, so at least she can be there when they find Ezra, even if they have to fight Grand Admiral Thrawn. And when Ahsoka is out there, she can see the Purrgil. That's a huge significance. I really like this part. But we jump to where Hera is right now, and Hera is in trouble because she disobeyed the Senate committee, and they want to remove her from her command. Chancellor Mon Mothma said that she is trying to help Hera, but there's not much she can do because the council is mad. Ahsoka says, I know how to find Sabine. It's the Purrgil. So the Purrgil, if you don't remember, are those giant space whales with like that have like long tentacles on the back, kind of like squid, but they're basically space whales, and they can travel through hyperspace quite easy. So Ahsoka stands outside the ship trying to communicate with the Purrgil. Her and Huang actually fly their Jedi ship into the Purrgil's mouth, and Ahsoka says to Hera, I will find them, I promise. I think that's a huge significance because she did it exact same way as Lando said to Leia, says, don't worry, princess. We'll find Han in Empire Strikes Back when they went to the Jabba's palace to try to free Han Solo. Okay, the Purrgil jump into hyperspace, and then the episode ends. Something you may not know is the liberation of Ryloth was almost 2 years before the Battle of Yavin, so that would make Jason around 10 years old right now. And they talk a lot during this episode about Senator Organa, so that's Princess Leia, how she's trying to help them. I think that's cool because, for one, they're not showing Princess Leia since Carrie Fisher has passed away, and they're not using a CG Leia. I think that's cool because I really hope they don't do that. Now, predictions going forward, I only have a couple for this one. The next episode will definitely have Morgan Elsbeth find Grand Admiral Thrawn and hopefully Ezra. And Hera might lose her command, but still leave, and a lot of the fleet will probably go with her because they trust her and they know there's something up. Quotes from this episode and past ones that I really like. Okay, episode 1, Morgan Elsbeth. Luck has nothing to do with it. Fate has decided our next move. Ahsoka, sometimes the right reasons have the wrong consequences. That was episode 1. Episode 3, this was Ahsoka. Anger and frustration are quick to give you power, but they also unbalance you. And episode 4, Huang, I said the one thing that was really cool is he said Ahsoka and Sabine stay together. You're always better that way. And Balin said to Ahsoka, your legacy is like your master's, one of death and destruction. That was a huge turning point, and that was a large part of this episode, is because her legacy is not death and destruction. She's trying to save life. Anakin turned, she didn't. So that was what she was fighting this episode. And of course, quotes from this episode. A lot of them are Anakin. One is never too old to learn. He said that to Ahsoka. Anakin also said, as a Jedi, it's our job to lead. That doesn't mean we don't make mistakes. That's a huge quote for her, and I think that will help her moving forward in the next 3 episodes. And Anakin, I'm teaching you how to lead, how to survive, and how to do what you need to do, and that will be to fight. I'm really looking forward to the next episode. I really love this show. It's awesome. I look forward to seeing you next time. Now, one thing that's very important about this podcast is if you are listening to this podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, so Spotify, anything like that, you want to see the video version of these, which you can find on the Locker Room YouTube page, because there's going to be exclusive video content on these. For this episode right here, I am going to be breaking down some lightsaber techniques that Ahsoka uses in this show, as well as showing you like the evolution of her lightsaber combat, which is going from double-bladed to single, from Jar-Kai to the other Gemso and Ataru. So you want to see the video content. I'm going to give you the evolution of the Ahsoka Tana lightsaber style. First,
I've been waiting for this day for a long time.
well, here we go. Okay, so the lightsabers didn't turn on at first. So she's actually known for Jar-Kai, which is the dual lightsaber combat. So with that, there's multiple different ways you can do it. So the lightsabers follow each other. Stop that. There we go. Okay, she also did the inverted, where she would cross this way, flip, do this way. This is very samurai type tech. Circular movements, not moments, movements. Cross. Now, later in her Jedi life, she lost that lightsaber, did single. She is known for Form 5, which is Shincho, or also Ataru, which is Form 4. Shincho. Okay, Ataru, it used lots of yeah, the other lightsaber is burning a hole in the floor. Okay. Then also with Shincho, which is actually the style that Anakin used, which was very solid, aggressive movements, which she also used the reverse grip. And you can move like this. need to thank you so much for being involved in listening to my podcast. Look forward to seeing you next time when I'm dealing with episode number 6. There's only a few more episodes left. I do need to thank my sponsors. First and foremost, my buddy Army Chris for Fire for Effect Productions. The video that I'm going to be using for this podcast is actually done by him, so I need to thank him for that. And as well as Crier Media, where you can find my podcast and many others. I look forward to seeing you next time, and may the Force be with you always.